when we repot, we repot for a reason. Some of the books will say, "Oh, I should. This tree has been in a pot for 2 years, so I must repot it. Or 3 years, I must repot it." That is not true.
Okay.
You repot for a reason. The most important reason is that the tree is not growing well.
Oh, okay.
The other reasons are poor drainage. If I water this tree and the water does not run out the bottom, then the drainage is poor, and that's a reason to repot.
Okay.
If the root base is pushing up out of the pot, then I know that the tree has become root bound. Or if the roots are coming out of the bottom, then I know that
that's another reason.
That's another reason.
Okay.
The other reason, those are horticultural reasons. The other reason is a aesthetic or artistic reason. If I want to change the pot or the potting angle, I think this tree would look better like this or like this, then I might. Oh,
you said wanted one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we repot not just because it's time, but because there's a reason.
Okay, I didn't know that, so now I know.
And old trees that grow very slowly tend to not require potting as often.
Okay. Except for the reasons you were telling us.
Yes.
Okay.
And the other thing is, for a small tree like this, allowing it. This is a Shohin. It's almost 7 to 8 inches, only 7 or 8 inches tall. In a pot, in a tree like this, if I let the tree get compacted, then it will grow slower. For Shohin, growing slow is a good thing because it keeps the internodes, the distance between the leaves, shorter.
Okay.
So that's kind of a more subtle thing. In this particular case, I'm doing this primarily because I wanted to show it to you.
Okay.
But the other thing is I wanted a shallower pot.
Okay.
This is a Shohin. And you'd like the pot to be much more shallow.
More shallow. Okay.
So we have a choice, and I picked out 2 pots, and these 2 pots are almost identical in shape and size.
What's the damage on? It's like 8 bucks.
They are, but so the real difference is between the color selection.
Okay.
And usually you try to pick a pot. The pot. We'd like the pot to be more shallow. And
I'll see you.
And I would like, I think between the 2, I like this color because it blends fairly well with the trunk.
I see.
Usually you pick a pot color based upon the color of the trunk or the color of the foliage. Does it complement the trunk color or the foliage, or does the tree have a blossom or a berry that you'd like to complement? So in this case, I like this color because that's the only pot that I have like that, and this trunk color is pretty close to being to this. If you see it from this from this side.
True.
Okay. So the other thing. So we're going to repot this, and we're going to repot it in this pot.
Okay.
The first thing that we do when we repot is to prepare the pot. We don't touch this.
Okay.
We're going to I'll move this out. So we need some. First of all, we need some screen for the holes. This is a pretty cheap Chinese pot, but it does happen to have a nice color.
Yeah,
okay?
that'll do the job.
Yeah. So we can buy this kind of screen, which has a little bit bigger holes, this is a really nice bonsai screen, but this costs about $5.
Wow.
This is the screen that you can buy for needlepoint at Michael's or one of the craft shops.
Yeah, I know
it
which
costs
ones.
$1.
Wow.
Okay, so
and that'll get the job done.
get the job done.
All right.
So
That's what matters, huh?
yeah. So I will not use the expensive screen.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll I'll put it fairly. It doesn't cut quite as cleanly either, but it'll work. One thing that I'm not real happy with in this pot is that the holes are pretty small.
And it only has 2, right?
It only has 2. The other thing that I would point out is when you buy a pot, you want the holes to be at the lowest point in the pot. Frequently, particularly cheap pots, the holes will sometimes be, there'll be a trough, or it'll be deeper over here than it is here. If that happens, then water pools in here, and the roots can rot. Okay. So you want to make sure that the holes are at the lowest point in the pot when you buy the pot. So I usually. Now, the other point is that bonsai must be tied into the pot with wire. Okay.
Okay.
Are you having private classes back here that I'm not invited to?
No, you are welcome.
No, I'm working out there.
Oh, so there's a on the pallet back there.
Yeah.
I don't. So.
Yes, and I will be here till 4 o'clock. So just before my car is down in the other parking lot because I didn't want to be in the way.
We'll.
Anyway, I have a question about the bonsai that we put out, the pine, the literati style one. I think I maybe more.
It's important when we.
Why is that that way?
Now I'm doing this to put to hold the mesh in the pot. Okay. So, and in doing so, I want the 2 wires that go down to be very snug against the walls of these holes. And the reason for that is that it will slide around. Okay, so you can see it's fairly snug. The other thing you'll notice is that I'm using pretty generous wire. This aluminum wire is pretty cheap, and so we want to have plenty of wire to do this correctly. Okay. So once again, I'm trying to. The fact that bonsai are wired in the pot. You know why we wire them in the pot?
So they can stay still, right?
Right.
Is there any other reason?
Well, it has to do with the hair roots. The part of the roots that really take up the nutrition and take up the water and the oxygen are not the roots that you can see with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They are these little.
The little white, little white.
You can't see them at all.
You can see them at all.
They're microscopic and they're only 1 cell thick.
Oh, wow.
But if the plant is moving in the pot,
it'll damage.
They won't grow.
They won't grow. Oh,
So,
okay. I see.
you need those roots to in order for the tree to thrive.
Okay. So that's the main reason for the
Yes.
wiring the tree. Okay.
You want to make the tie-down wires, and in general, I use the circumference of the pot.
Okay.
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 So there's 2 holes here. So we really are kind of limited to just 2 tie-down wires. But this isn't a very big tree, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. It is important I screwed this up. In fact, I think I'll leave that. It is important that the tie downs be done very neatly. Okay. And that they be snug against the edge of the hole each time.
Okay.
Okay. This is more to do with just craftsmanship,
Okay.
so that the tree looks neat.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
You got it.
So this is Shohin soil, but in my opinion it's a little bit too small for this tree. Okay, this is just a matter of my opinion. But normally Shohin are in the very little pots are put in this kind of soil, this size grain, and the reason is that this retains more water for a little shallow pot. Already pre-mixed, okay, and it has a little bit of dust in it, so I'm gonna sift it out. Now this is 50-50. I think I'll just use this straight up for this tree. And that is, I won't put any extra akadama in. If I was concerned about the humidity, about keeping it dry enough, or keeping it wet enough, I would add a little extra akadama, but I'm not going to do that. Just to kind of neaten this up a bit. These guide wires have been on here quite a while, and now they're loose, so I'll take them off in a minute. So I didn't pot this tree in the first place. Okay, so this is not my idea of a neat job. When you are removing the tie-down wires, cut the wires in the middle. Don't cut them here, because they get hooked on there and they're hard to get out. This is called a potting sickle. You can buy them at the Hardware and Fowler. I don't know where else you can buy them.
Hardware where?
Fowler.
Bowler.
Pat Galley gave me this as a gift. It's one of the best tools I've ever had.
It doesn't have a lip.
No.
Some pots have a lip on the inside. It really makes it
Pain in them. Yeah.
the roots.
I'm going to step away.
That's fine.
This has kind of a mixture of akadama or bonsai soil and so what I'm doing now is reducing the root ball, and it is most important that I reduce the root ball right underneath the trunk, right in what's called the heart of the in here. Because see all that old soil in there? There's a lot of old mucky soil. That is bad for the health of the tree. That because it retains water and does not have enough space for air. Right? The roots need air as much as they need water. They need oxygen.
Oxygen.
Yeah. There.
So this is just a regular olive?
Olive. Yeah, actually, the leaves are a little bit small. It may be a European olive, a little leaf olive. Do you know? You have a... European olives have
smaller leaves.
The variety of olive has a very small leaf. If you go out there on the 18th, it grows them out back, sells them fairly
reasonable cheap.
Very cheap.
You dig them out of the ground.
Where at?
He lives out. If you've got more time than money, it's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For some of us, we have more money.
But I've removed about 2/3 of the root ball here. And the important thing is that if I'm going to plant this tree at the same angle that it was, like this, then this needs to be flat.
Okay.
And so I've worked to try to make sure that this is a flat surface. Okay? That's important, because the tree is easier to and more stable to secure if it's on a flat surface. Oh, I think I probably got too much soil in here. Maybe not. I don't. So I'm going to put a little mound of soil right in the middle. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the pot and decide where do I like the front. Okay. Do I like this side that has a little bluish to it? Or do I like this side that's a more solid cream color?
I think the bluish will go with the leaves because kind of the shades goes. It gives you like a blue.
Got it already. He said the bluish in the pot goes well with the bluish in the leaves.
Because it gives you like a bluish with the and each leaves like a like the shade shady stuff.
Shade is kind of mottled there. That kind of reflects the trunk too.
Yeah. It's very.
So you got color and texture.
Okay. Is that too high?
Color and shape of the pot can make all the difference to me in the presentation of the bonsai.
So. I don't know, Bob. What do you guys think? Is that too high? Just a tad.
Let me take some out.
Well, I think I'll take some.
Like so? Primarily because of that one long rim. Yeah. I do that so often, it just pisses me off. Got it all wired and tightened down. And when I look at it, I'm like, you idiot.
We all do it. The other thing is, the tree should tilt just a little bit towards the viewer.
Towards the viewer, yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So.
And what's the reason for that?
It is just a matter of art, of aesthetics.
Okay.
So.
Did you mention you're pulling out while you twist it?
Yeah, I didn't, but I should have.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The reason is otherwise it'll bunch up and it'll break the wire.
Oh, okay.
So.
We probably will have some. But were you finally done? I'm thinking.
When you tighten, particularly aluminum wire, you pull and then twist, but you don't twist and pull.
Okay, you pull and then twist.
And then twist. And you to know that you're not twisting when you're pulling when you're twisting, you keep your elbow loose. Okay.
All right, got it.
Just a little forward, not a lot.
I don't think you'll remember me.
Mike,
What?
you know this guy?
Oh, really?
Also, somebody did a lot of gin work on this too.
Yeah. Yep. I think that this tree was actually a gift to me. From Mike Reynolds, who does the.
And about how old is he?
You know, I don't know, but it's probably at least 10 years old.
Okay.
He's got paper. He's just going to put it on.
Pull and then twist.
I still consider myself. I played with it since high school, on and off,
Pull and then loosen my elbow and twist. Oops.
I need to
Okay.
So some of the, there's certain terms and things I sort of forgotten. So I'm going to be
screws up my tools.
Scoop?
Yeah, I had. You have a scoop readily available? Oh, it's a nice one. I have a bigger one. This smaller one is nicer.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. Yeah. And, okay, so where's the...
Gotta get all the gold back in
I know, get all the gold back in there.
Now, this is important.
Oh, okay, where it kind of goes into...
What we're gonna...
Okay.
Now, this chopsticking is very important. What I'm doing is I'm going straight down to the bottom of the pot with the tip of this chopstick, and then I'm bouncing it up and down as I come out. Okay? So I'm down to the bottom and then bounce it out. Down to the bottom. I can feel the bottom of the pot, and then I bounce it out. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing those granules underneath the root ball, and I'm taking and I'm closing up any air pockets. It's right next to the. Sorry,
I got you.
shouting into your ear.
I always put tiles when you're gonna do something else.
Okay,
Okay,
so
that's a good start.
I am gently
Those harbs we used to have on that.
going all the way to the bottom of the pot, and then bouncing out. Okay,
Okay.
and I don't want to push too hard because I don't want to break up the akadama,
Okay.
which is more fragile.
So Mike, I have another question. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the roots are kind of like close to the pot.
It's that close. Is not. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
No.
On any tree.
And for most trees.
For most trees. Okay.
You like a little space.
Okay.
But again, that makes the tree a little off center, and it's nice to have a little space in front of it.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure, definitely.
Lindsay. Okay, gotcha.
Every time I go down there, no intentions on it.
Well, this is really awesome, guys. Thanks for your time.
That we want to do is we want to have a little gap. See how there's a little deep, it's deeper right there? That's important because otherwise the water, when we water, it flows over the edges and washes the soil away.
Okay.
So so I'm once again I'm going down to the bottom of the pot if I can get down there.
Absolutely.
Now the soil is getting pretty tight. And the other thing I didn't say, which is important, is that this is called chopsticking, and it's a two-handed job.
Okay.
You put your, and if you're right-handed, you put your left hand on the edge of the soil, or even right on top of the soil, and then you chopstick it in.
I didn't get the ones that had the two other sticks. I remember that we did at least kill the same time. Previous box.
So what kind of soil can we use with olives?
Again, they are very forgiving. The soil, this soil that you see here is about 50% akadama and 50% pumice, and it is intended primarily for conifers, but it works perfectly fine for olives. They grow in very bad soil most of the time. You know, if you look at the olives they grow in Italy, they grow in this awful stuff.
They grow in California soil.
Yes. Italy and Spain probably grow the best olives in the world for bonsai because they're ancient. They're very old wild trees.
Okay.
Most of ours, of course, are domesticated. They're farm trees. So,
can you give us a 360?
The other thing that I'm doing is that I'm just pressing down everywhere with my fingers. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm trying to leave that little ridge on the edge of the pot so that the water doesn't flow over the edge when I water it. Now there's a couple of other things that I could do. Okay? I could put a top dressing of that small Shohin soil on the top of this, and it looks nice, and it tends to keep the roots moist because the small granules retain water better than the larger ones.
Okay.
And then the plant tends to keep water up near the surface. We could put shredded sphagnum. So having said that, I don't know where my sphagnum is. People will put shredded sphagnum moss on the surface. They tend to do that, I think, more with deciduous trees. So this is Akadama. No, it's mixed, but it's Shohin soil.
It's Akadama and something else?
Yeah, mixed, yeah.
It'll give us another view.
Yeah. Just, it's Akadama with pumice, just like the bigger soil. This is just a smaller grain. And again, the primary purpose is just to keep some moisture up at the top of at the soil surface.
And that'll give us a better looking view.
Yes, and it's more attractive.
It's more attractive.
Yes. And again, sometimes we'll put some shredded sphagnum moss on the surface.
Appreciate it.
Whoops.
I don't want to leave.
In the front of the tree.
It's about as it probably could have been just a little bit deeper, but excuse me.
We'll go warm up.
Hey, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Bye.
meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Good. Take care.
Bye.
I'll
Take
talk
care.
to you later. Bye.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah, I do have a key. Yes.
Where did you find your for your little bag?
This,
Yeah.
I think I bought it at Orchard Supply before they went out of business.
What about watering the tree for now?
Now, when I get home, I will.
Do we have to wait, or
No.
we can water?
When I
like-
get home, I'll water it immediately, and I'll water it until the water running through is clear.
Okay.
So I've gotten as much of the dust out of it as I can. So I'll stand there and water it for 2 or 3 minutes until the water coming through is clear. And then I'll put it right out in the sun. Some
Okay.
books will tell you, oh, put it in the shade. That's not true. The roots need the warmth of the sun.
Okay.
So you can stick it right out in the sunshine.
Okay.
And it'll do fine.
Okay.
But once again, now I would not repot an olive or a maple this time of year
Okay.
because the roots won't grow. It won't heal itself. It'll be quite weak. But olives are so durable that I can basically transplant them anytime.
Okay.
But maples,
Even in winter.
yeah,
Okay.
maples should be transplanted just when the buds begin to swell.
Okay.
And notice that I would not remove any foliage. I wouldn't prune the tree or remove branches. I want the tree to use all of that foliage to regrow the roots.
New roots.
Okay?
Okay.
So if I repot, I don't fertilize, I don't prune, I leave it alone in the sun and just water it when it needs it.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's it. Okay.
It does,
We're done.
it's threatening, or it's
Very much for the class. We learned a lot of stuff today.
there on the website. There is a thing about repotting that has a lot of bullet points that might
Help a lot.
jog your mind.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
You're very welcome.